Okay, well, Steve, if you don't mind, whenever you're ready, just doing a quick kickoff. I guess while you're getting set up too, Lauren or Ali, are you okay to say hello? You mind chiming in, saying where you're calling in from and what company you represent?
Sure, not a problem. So I was expecting more people. Hi, Ben. So my name is Lauren. I'm from South America. I'm based in Colombia, working remotely for Pure Branding. We're a branding and marketing agency in the States for beloved supplement brands.
Okay,
And I'm
awesome.
the admin and right hand to the CEO. Yeah,
Fantastic. Nice to have you with us. Nice to meet you.
same.
And Ali,
All
not
right.
sure if you're able to chime in here briefly. No worries if not.
I think we'll get started then. A small but mighty crew. So
Privileged. That's how I feel.
yeah, we'll just have a little bit of a conversation about AI and productivity and all that fun stuff. So I'm Steve, and Ben and I are from a company called Adaptive. And then what we're going to be talking about today is basically how can you use tools like ChatGPT and Microsoft CoPilot to do some productive things, specifically around today, around how to do productive daily huddles and solve problems while you're having those huddles. And maybe it's daily, maybe it's weekly, however often you're getting together as a team to solve problems. And we're going to walk you through a couple of tools that we've developed that have been useful in creating context that we can give to the AI to help problem solving. And so Ben's going to walk us through a demo of both our daily huddle tool. We're going to use some of that data into AI, and we're going to show you how to use those two things together to do some productive problem solving and potentially come up with some solutions that your team might not otherwise have considered. So I'm going to give the controls over to Ben, and he's going to walk us through the first portion of the demo.
And Lauren, I'm curious, given that you're already engaging with us, would you mind any interaction? I'm just curious about the environment that your team works within. What type of uh, products do you manufacture? Services do you offer?
So we're in the part of branding and marketing for strategy. So building the story for brands emerging and for legacy, helping them with their rebrands. Also, we have our own proprietary information and IP tool that we use for segmentation of the market to help our clients to better identify who their target audience is.
Very good. And within your organization, Lauren, do you meet frequently as a team or what type of huddle structure, what type of communication?
We definitely meet frequently and we need to make it more efficiently. And my boss is crazy about AI. So, and we all
Awesome.
are. We've been deep diving about it. So that's why he had it flagged like the invitation for the webinar, but I know he's busy and we've
Yeah,
been like
understood.
looking into it. So I decided to check it out. And this is more personalized than I was expecting it.
Well,
But
thank
here,
you for engaging.
take
Yeah, very good.
advantage of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think Lauren and Ali, if you're there listening and people who are watching uh, post haste, our tool that we've developed, I guess, as an adaptive team, an internal team, is what you see here on the screen. And we know that teams all across the world have different mechanisms with which they capture team feedback. We find that a daily cadence is ideal to walk through as a working team to say, how are we doing in terms of our output, whether from a manufacturing standpoint or a service delivery standpoint or branding and campaign project management type thinking. So what you see on the page is just our example of a team interaction that we'll have. We do like to work within certain categories or pillars of how we structure our team communication, safety, quality, delivery, cost, people, traditional type pillars that you might be familiar with from other environments. And what we do as a team is we capture our own feedback on this regular basis. We do it daily and we're working through and saying, generally, how are we feeling? Who on our team do we want to give some kudos to or give credit for a job well done? How's it going? So we're doing very simple. It's going well. It's not going well. And then when things are not going well, we're taking some time in order to do reflection, type in our feedback. What could be better? What problems are we seeing? And then once we have all that, what you see here on the page is a manifestation of all of our team members' feedback across a department or a group. And then we can quickly go through on a regular basis in the morning or whenever you might schedule it to be able to understand for our team what are the issues that we're facing. And then most importantly, out of all this interaction, what are the action items that we want to put on the page for ourselves to be accountable to? How do we want to drive forward? And ideally, and what we do as a team too, throughout this discussion, it takes a bit of time, and we'll show how AI can simplify that, but it takes a bit of time to do problem solving when we have these issues, when we're seeing damage, when we're seeing customer complaints, when we're seeing downtime as a result of whatever. Our job is then to say 5 whys, root cause analysis, whatever tools you're used to using, and be able to understand what do we want to put on the page as a short-term containment, a longer-term countermeasure for us to get to the root of that problem, prevent it from coming back again. So we have all of that discussion taking place. This system that we have up on the screen is augmenting that. I think where we've now seen the power of AI, as I'm sure you have, Lauren, Ali, and others, is to be able to take this raw data and then convert that into what we would say is a live real-time coach giving us instantaneous feedback based on that higher level intelligence that we as a team might not have at that pace. And that's what Steve is going to walk us through very shortly of how we're harnessing the new technology that's available. So I'll pause, and then Lauren, feel free to jump in. Is this so familiar? I'm sure you guys use a similar tool, but is that structure similar to what you would do on a regular basis with your team?
So in our case, we're a small agency. We partner up for larger projects. So we're a team of 6. So what we use for communication is Trello. So
Yeah.
Trello is our support tool for keeping track of our to-dos and keeping connected with them.
Yeah, Trello is a fantastic tool. We're familiar with a lot of the landscape. And as mentioned, there is a plethora of these types of tools. I think we've found that there is some power in, I guess, what we've tried to put together, what you see on the page. And obviously, we're more than happy to talk you through it, guide you around whatever we can offer within our platform. But I think, Steve, without further pause, let's have you cut over and show, once we have this raw data captured within whatever platform, let's then show out the power of AI the way you'll talk us through it.
All right, just going to share my entire screen so I can bounce around a little bit. So one of the things that we've been working with these generative AI tools for some time right now. And one of the ways that we have found useful when we're communicating about these tools is to talk about like a before and after workflow. So typically, and this has helped a lot of folks that we work with conceptualize or demystify what we're trying to do with AI. So we take a workflow that happens consistently inside of a business, and we look for opportunities to implement AI to make the process go better, faster, and cheaper. And so in this case, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get folks to implement things that are going well, things that are not going well, so that we can have a really productive huddle meeting. And then most importantly, in that meeting, quickly identify and solve issues that have come up. And so if you mapped out that process and took a few minutes to, do a workflow on it, you might come up with, well, to do a really good job of coming up with solutions to our problems, it might take us an hour and a half. Having our entire team to huddle around and do this kind of work is, if you add up all the folks on the team, is going to come up with a certain amount of hour. And, coming up with a great solution costs the company some form of money. And then what we find is if we take that workflow and we think about, well, how can we dump as many of those tasks down into the automate with AI function and build a tool that does the work that the human being would otherwise need to do. And the work that the AI is really good at is finding a set of context, or like taking data in context, and then finding potential solutions to a problem that might be occurring. And so that's the workflow. And what we're looking for in organizations is how can we help them identify and take advantage of improvements that are at least 100x. So we took a conservative approach to this problem and gave it a 13x assessment. But ultimately, the AI can do a lot of the thinking and the human work that otherwise would be going on inside of the head of a human being. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into our tool here, and we're going to get started. And what the tool is going to ask us for is the report data that we've collected for the last week. So here is our report data. So we're actually just going to take all of this. One of the things that we've learned with AI is that it can, even if you just copy and paste a bunch of data, even if the data is not clean, it's really good at taking unstructured data and finding all of the right connections into it. So we're just going to go ahead and hit enter. And so that's
While this is
taking all of,
pulling up, Steve, sorry to interrupt you too, and just so everybody's clear, what we've done with that data extract is directly from our platform adaptive that we use. So you see those good and bads, those red and greens. But as Steve mentioned, any platform that you are using, that data exists in some form. So to be able to make that bridge from your current tool, whether it's Excel or all the way up to whatever technology, to then link that into what we have with this tool, it's a step that's powerful, and it's a step that we've thankfully been able to figure out. But Steve's going to show you even more how you can bring that to life. So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Steve.
yeah, no problem. So, so it's identified, some of the issues that potentially we might want to solve. So, taking the let's go and dig into the number of safety incidents on March the 19th. So we're going to try to solve this problem. So so the next thing that's going to happen is start going to asking us what is commonly known in the manufacturing space as the 5 whys. So we're trying to drill down into the root cause of an issue. And what we have found is that human beings do not do a good job of this on their own. And so they also don't do a really good job of it in an open-ended fashion. And so what the AI is doing right now is asking us sequential questions dynamically based on the answers that we're going to be giving, and will continue to do that drill down for us very quickly. So it's taking me much longer to explain what it's doing than if we were just doing this, zipping through it. We could go through this very quickly. So we're going to say, let's just say there was an equipment failure that led to the incidents. And on the multiple choice question issue, what we found is that if we give 3 options and then allow the open-ended option to remain there as an additional option, it can capture as much all of the required context in order for this to give good advice. So let's just say the team member wasn't maybe it wasn't properly trained. And it's going to ask us about 3 or 4 questions, and then it's going to hop into providing us some solutions. And so what we might do at the end is give as much additional context as we feel we need in order to get the right solution. But we're just going to say we're going to think about doing more rigorous training materials in the future. So what now it's going to do is it's going to propose several solutions to this particular problem. And specifically, we've tuned this tool specifically to pull out expertise from the continuous improvement space, but we could tune it to pull out, Lauren, ideas from the marketing space, like any domain that exists, we can get the AI to suggest solutions for problems that are coming up. So you can imagine, you're doing a marketing campaign, and you're not sure why the conversion rate went down, and maybe you're stuck on what potential solutions you might need to create. So that would be a way to use these tools as well. So let's just say we're gonna go and we want a solution from learning to, let's say, 2-second lane. So give me a playbook. Book from solution number 2. And so what I was going to do is after this, it's going to ask us one last question, which is, okay, over which period of time do you want this playbook to be run? Is it something we need to solve today? Is it something we need to solve this week? Is it this month? Or is it just like an incident that's coming up? But let's just say we're going to want to solve this problem over 1 week, and it's going to now give us a plan in order to do this. And so it's going to come out in a step-by-step checklist fashion. And so one of the biggest challenges for folks is, okay, even if you come up with a vague solution to a problem, well, what exactly are we going to do about it? And ultimately, having a list of action items to take that you can start handing out to the folks on the team, that if we're just backing up the logic here, that came from an expert in the space, that came from the context of what we're dealing with, all of a sudden you've got a set of action items that would be very on point, and that should have an impact on this. So again, this could be done through lean manufacturing context. This could be done in a marketing context, and we're able to tune these tools along the way for any context. And it's also giving us containment actions, which would be, here are things you can do immediately to solve the problem right now. And it's also going to give us a set of corrective actions, which would solve the problem for the future. And so we could keep going, and we could keep going. Will give us more information about day 7, step 1, and so on. So what we found to be why this is so powerful is it gets people from, I have a problem, and here are some things that we can do that are intelligent and potentially would solve the problem in under 2 minutes. If you were to run this just straight, you could get through this in less than 2 minutes. And that is ultimately what we wanted to show on how to take context and data from tools you're currently using and using AI tools to productively solve problems inside of group meetings and team meetings. So,
Steve, what I'll do briefly as well before we kind of conclude and open the floor for questions, I think just to drive the point home for the team here, likewise, that once we've done that and the power of ChatGPT or whatever other tool, we just heard Copilot's opening up their GPT world. So whatever AI you're harnessing, and we obviously have been thankful to kind of come up the learning curve with that, all of that output then can come directly back into whatever huddle tool you are using. In our world, we've got our action items up here just on the right-hand side. We would be able to take all of those findings, even some elements of that week-by-week plan, and be able to port those directly here. And that even more just drives that virtuous cycle of accountability as a team. The next time we meet, we've got those on the page. We have that assigned very clearly to who has ownership of it. And then that drives the next wave of problem solving. So that's the power. You, especially as a team leader, if you're coming into this as a leader of a team or a group of teams, then the power that you can just see off of a couple moments of interaction, getting your team members direct feedback, and then using that and having an AI tool alongside you to be able to bring that to life and very clearly specify what we need to do. That's where we see that 100x power that Steve alluded to. So Steve, go ahead and if we want to open up for any questions, and Laura, I'm not sure anything we can clarify in your end specifically, but let us know.
Maybe if you can like show a little bit more of the tool functionality, like from scratch. If there's like a homepage for the tool, which different ways can one interact with the tool aside from this view for the different action items that all of the team members are working on?
Yeah, great question. And as you see the interface here, Lauren, we can speak more to the GPT side, but within Adaptive, within our huddle tool that you see here, we have a couple modules. We have done our best to simplify it, that this is our huddle tool. So we can maybe schedule another time, Lauren, we can talk you through some of the other functionality from a more enterprise standpoint.
Okay.
But when you first log into the huddle tool, it's as simple as you adding members of your team. Once you have the members of the team defined, then you as the team leader will come in here and do a quick update of what talking points or what elements you want to put on the page for your team to be accountable to and giving feedback on. And then once you've done that first bit, that's when you start to see on the real-time feedback that your team members will immediately start giving their day-to-day feedback, as I said, in terms of how it's going well, it's not going well, improvement ideas. And then once they've submitted that, that'll come to life here on the huddle page. And you've got a record of all your previous days, and that starts to build that cycle. So we've seen that this quick implementation literally takes a few minutes to get your team going, and then be able to couple that with what we've established with that GPT functionality. That really gets a next level of problem solving discussion within a day or two.
Got it. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, Steve, if you want to pull your screen again, and maybe we can just do a quick recap and then summarize what we would say are some next steps.
Absolutely. Yeah, so just to kind of recap, so very quickly, what we're doing with these AI tools is finding different areas inside of your operations, finding ways to make the decision-making process and the problem-solving process go better, faster, and cheaper. So we demoed one set of tools and AI enhancements today, which would be around the manufacturing environment. But again, just to make sure it's clear, we can do this in any environment and for any problem that you're trying to solve inside your organization. So typically 3 ways we work with organizations, and we're happy to have a further conversation with you in a next step consultation. So we do training, so we can train you on how to think about these tools and how to potentially even build some of these tools yourself inside of your operations. We can provide you with tools and coaching on how to use those tools. And in some cases, we could probably build out custom tools for you. Or ultimately, we can also assign you a fractional AI advisor from our organization as well, who can come in and help you navigate how do you think about using these tools, and how do you build this culture, like we like to say, of AI powered continuous improvement inside your operation. So would love to do that in a one-on-one way and get a little bit more context from you so that we can be real pointed in how we could help. But that's those are the next steps. So welcome any questions about that, or would just love to have that further conversation.
Sure.